Good afternoon, boys and girls, mommies and daddies, and grandmommies and grandpuppies. As you saw the title, perhaps, it's simply called Snow. That's today's story, Snow. Now, you're saying, girl, what do you know about snow in Florida? Well, this grandmommy has been in snow, actually got stuck 2 times in snow. We won't go into any more details. So what had happened was nobody knew but Mommy Piggy. And she had heard from her great aunt Gladys. She didn't even know that Aunt Great Gladys was still alive. Aunt Great Gladys was quite old by now. Her daughter was bringing her down to Florida to see all the relatives. Now, Aunt Great Gladys knew that she had had a lot of little great nieces and nephews and great nieces and nephews, and so she was going to bring a surprise. And what they did was, about 2 weeks ago, where they live up in really cold, snowy South Dakota. It's cold up there. It is cold up there. And it snows. So what she did was she and her daughter and her daughter's daughter got together and they made snowballs. Oh, they were making snowballs. And then they had a great big freezer out on the back porch. And they put all these snowballs in the freezer to get them hard. Then, when it come time to come down here to Florida, they packed them all in ice, in like tubs of ice, and put a great big thick blanket over it because great big tubs don't have lids on them. Excuse me. And so they packed them with a big thick blanket over them, and they drove to Florida, and they were going to give them out to all the boys and girls to have a snow flight. Now, they figured by the time that they got to Florida that the snowballs wouldn't be frozen, but they wouldn't be wet water sloshing all over the car in the back. They'd be just perfect to have one snowball fight. So now the kids were at school, and Miss Eileen was teaching them this. Today was geography. And geography is a really fun, I think, fun subject because it tells you all about different places all over the world. Some are cold, some are hot, some are desert, some are lakes, just everything in the world, all over the world about geography. So she was telling them today about Canada and Alaska and Labrador and Newfoundland. Whoosh, all those countries. Those other ones are over top of Canada. Our world is real big, boys and girls. So then, right underneath Canada, there is your Massachusetts and your, I'm going to leave one out, probably get it wrong too. Anyway, Michigan with all the lakes. And so some of those lakes get really kind of icy. Not all the way through because they're too deep, but just on the outskirts. And then there's Illinois, and then there is Wisconsin and South Dakota, and North Dakota is even colder. And then you go to Oregon and Washington. Yeah, these states really get cold. So she was talking to them about snow and about wind and ice, and that was their lesson for today. And some of the girls told Miss Eileen that she had to stop talking about all of this because they were getting cold just listening to her. Well, that's kind of like what people in Florida do. Florida, if you under 75 degrees, they put a sweater on. Now, GrandMommy doesn't, but maybe under 65. So the boys and girls, they were just all excited. They wanted to hear more about that snow. Well, Mommy Piggy picked him up, and she had already called Allie Alligator's mama, Patty Pig's mama, Rocky Raccoon's mama, Frankie Fox's mama. Of course, Mr. and Mrs. Farmer Brown, they knew all about it, you know, so that took care of the little bad wolf. And she even told some of the boys and girls that was in town that she knew that her boys always spoke about, so she knew they'd be fun kids to have out. And she told them what her great aunt Gladys was doing. She was going to bring all these snowballs, and if they wanted to pretend like they lived up north, to show up at 4 o'clock. Oh, she was driving home from the school, and she is smiling, and she is laughing, and the boys were sitting in the back seat, and all of a sudden they got quiet because Squiggly was on the far outside, and he was looking at Mama, and he was looking at her, and he was looking, and he goes to Piggy and to Wiggly. He said, shh, 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 shh. They said, why? He said, because she's smiling and she's laughing while she's driving. I wonder what's going on. Oh, boy. Were they in trouble? No. Mommy Piggy wouldn't have a smile on her face if they were in trouble. Wiggly said that one. Wiggly had his fingers crossed, too. Well, they get home, and Piggy and Wiggly are Squiggly. They're looking out the window, and down the street here comes all their friends in their cars. Their mommies was pulling in their driveway. What? So Piggy says, Mommy, what's going on? Everybody from school is coming to here with their mamas. And I see some daddies too. What's going on? And Mommy Piggy says, just wait, get out of the car, and I will tell everybody at one time. So they got out of the car, and now the other children were getting out of their cars, and their mamas was getting out of the cars, and their daddies were getting out of the cars, and they all come up to the front porch. And Mrs. Piggy said, okay, now you grown-ups know why I've asked you to come, but all of you boys and girls don't know why I've asked you to come. I understand that your teacher talked about the cold up, the states up on top of us that are cold, and you learned about snow and ice and everything. And they all said, yeah. Oh, that was such a good lesson today. We want to go up north sometime. Mommy, can we live up north? That was from Allie the Alligator, and his mommy said, no, we don't live up north, child. She says, I'll talk to you later about that. So anyway, they were all excited. So Squiggly, you know, he's the smartest one. He says, Mommy, what are you telling us all this for? And she says, well, boys and girls, Piggly, Wiggly, and Squiggly, she says, I've invited all your friends here today because we have a surprise visit from your great Aunt Gladys. She's my great Aunt Gladys. The boys are looking at each other and they, Mommy, we never heard of great Aunt Gladys or great. And she said, it's great Aunt Gladys. Well, we never heard of her. Is she really our aunt? Are you just making this up? And Mommy Piggy says, no, she's really our aunt. And I've never talked a whole lot about her because I didn't think you two boys would be very interested, and she's also very old. And as I apologized to my great-great-aunt Gladys, I really wasn't sure if she was still alive. And Piggly and Wiggly, Squiggly, they hung their heads. Well, we don't know our great-great-great-great-great-aunt Gladys. No, 3 greats. Okay, we don't know our great-great-great-aunt Gladys, but we sure would like to. With that, out comes great-great-great Aunt Gladys. Oh, she was a little teeny tiny thing, and her fur was, was gray, and she kind of had a little cane because she was pretty old by now. She was 99.5 years old. She was waiting to be 100. Now, for piggies to live to 100 years, that's quite old. And she was gonna be that piggy that did it. So she said, boys and girls, she's looking around everything. Boys and girls, I brought you a surprise. Well, her daughter and her granddaughter, they kind of had to help hold her up because she wanted to sit down. So Mommy Piggy ran and got the rocking chair, and she says, here, Aunt Gladys, you sit down in a rocking chair, and then you could still talk to everybody. So she did, and all the boys and girls come up to the front, and they all sit down on the ground, and they ask her, what's so special? What did you do? And she says, well, she said, I brought you boys and girls some snowballs. Do you know what snowballs are? Well, now, they just got through having lessons, remember? They had their geography lessons, and they really loved what they heard. They all raised their hand, every last one of them, and jumping up and down. And so she picked Wiggly to tell what a snowball was, because she didn't know the names of the rest of the kids. And he said, well, snowballs can be different sizes, and we learned that you can make big snowballs and turn them into a thing called snowman. And that sounded so much fun. And she looked at her daughter, and she said, daughter, will you write that down on our list? Next year when I'm 100, we're going to bring enough of snow to make snowmen. Well, the kids heard her say, bring enough snow. Could she have brought snowballs for us to play? Do you think she did? Oh, my. Well, don't you know? She said, okay, Twyla Piggy. Twyla Piggy was her daughter. She said, you and Justine go down to the car and you get those snowballs out. Now, boys and girls, you follow this Justine and Twyla while I stay up here and visit with Mama Piggy. And they'll tell you what to do. And with that, she kind of fell back in the rocking chair. She rocked and she rocked and she rocked and she rocked. And the boys and girls, they followed Twyla and they followed Justine, and they went to the car, and Justine says, okay, boys and girls, we've only got enough snowballs. We're going to give everybody one, and then everybody another one, until we run out. Now, what you do is you run, and then you try to come back, and you have a snowball fight. And my mama, Miss Twyla, she's going to divide you all into 2 different sides, 2 different armies. Okay? So Miss Twyla Piggy, she said, okay, I'm going to go around, and I'm going to number you 1, 2, 1, 2. So all the 1s go over there, and all the 2s go over there. Well, the boys and girls, they looked at each other, and they'd never played this game before. They didn't know what 1s and 2s was. But they did what she said. So all the boys and girls that she was saying that you're number one, they went right over here. And all the boys and girls that she said was number two, they went right over here. I think there was like 30 kids there. That's a nice little army, 15 people on each side. Well, Justine was handing out the snowballs, and they had put them in bags, so to keep them good, you know, plastic bags, and she was handing them out. And Piggy said, my arms aren't long enough to hold these. How do I do this? And Justine says, okay, Sadie Skunk and Sally Skunk and the piggies, I'll give you the bags that they come in, and you can hold them in that. Now, what you do is you run and you hide, and then you sneak out and you go throw a snowball at somebody. Oh, this was going to be so much fun. And she says, try to make them last because we don't have too many now. Well, off the kids go. And they were laughing and giggling and screaming and hollering. And the mamas and the daddies that had came, they set up on the front porch with great Aunt Gladys and Mama Piggy, and they were laughing at those boys and girls because this is the very first time these kids had ever seen snow. Oh my goodness gracious. And to get real snow from South Dakota, not go to some place that makes it with a machine. I'll tell you right now, this was a special day. It really was. You should have seen those boys and girls out there. Oh my goodness gracious. Little Sadie Skunk. Well, you know, little Sadie Skunk now weighs 3 pounds. And you know, she's so itty bitty, little itty bitty tiny thing, you know. They happened to be, Sadie Skunk, was on the same team as Little Bad Wolf. And Little Bad Wolf says, here, Sadie, you know what you're supposed to do. Come up here. And he picked her up and he stuck her down the bib of his overalls, and so she could peek out. And she would tell him where to go. She would find all the boys and girls that was hiding because her eyesight was real good. And so they'd sneak up on the boys and girls, and plop, there goes a snowball. Oh, she had a good time. So Sally Skunk was on the other team. Well, I tell you, Allie the alligator, oh, he was so, because he played like it was a football. He threw his snowballs real far away. All these boys and girls thought they were going to run further and further and further. They wouldn't get hit. Allie the alligator got them because he threw a boom, and he just threw that snowball, football, clear across the yard, and then some. Oh, they were having so much fun. Frankie Fox and Rocky Raccoon and the boys and girls from town. And would you believe that snowball fight lasted for a half an hour? I think they brought more snowballs than what they thought they did. And they were all different sizes for all different sizes of their hands. So they had some little ones, they had some big ones, and they had a big one about this big. That was the big one. Oh my goodness gracious, those boys and girls had such a good time. And they didn't even have sweaters on because it was so warm. So that was really fun now. Their hands were icy cold, but they warmed up real quick. And in the meantime, Mommy Piggy and Mrs. Farmer Brown, they went inside the kitchen, inside the house, and they made hot chocolate for everybody with little bitty marshmallows. And she had already made oatmeal raisin cookies. Oh, oatmeal raisin cookies. If they're soft, GrandMommy's favorite of all the cookies. Got to be soft, oatmeal raisin. Now, if some of you boys and girls want to send me some, I'll be glad to eat them for you. Well, anyway, boys and girls, mommies and daddies, grandmommies and grandpuppies, that is all about the snow. Okay? We will see you Wednesday, and we will see what's going to happen. And if you would share, like, comment, especially the sharing. But I still want you to tell me something that you did when you were a little boy or a little girl, something funny that happened or something that you love to do over and over and over and over again. And I just bet you that I could turn that into a Three Little Pigs story that wouldn't be anything like what you used to do. You want to try me? See if you can tell me something and we'll have a story about it, okay? So, share among everything. Please share and please like, okay? And comment. So, bye-bye. See you Wednesday.